How's things looking on the injury front after the international break?
A few knocks. Vid's come back with a bit of a knock, so we'll wait and see on that one. Probably touch and go. We'll make a decision on that. Charlie's had it before and had a couple of knocks, so a little bit touch and go on him. Maxwell's come through fine and he trained today, full training, so we're expecting that he should be available. The only one we've got missing, knocks of injury because of COVID, unfortunately, is Ben Mee. He's fine, but he's tested positive, so he has to go through the protocols before he comes back in. And no one was with him either, so it's a single moment in time.
Who is that? Sorry,
Ben Mee.
Oh, right. And when did he test positive? How long will he be isolating for?
Yeah, we're waiting because we have to go through the protocols now. To testing and stuff like that. So we'll wait and see.
That's obviously a big blow for you ahead of the weekend.
Yeah, well, Nathan played the last game. He thought he did a good job. That's what we brought him there to do. So, another obvious chance, if selected, that he plays.
And Maxwell coming through, important that you have him available as well for the weekend.
It's important we keep players fit, simple as that. We've got a tough start, but it wouldn't help if you've got injured players, that's for sure. So we want to keep players fit. As I've said many times, been generally actually quite pleased with the performance levels, but we've got to make sure that we keep as many players fit to give us that kind of adaptation to the games we're playing and against the teams we're playing to try and win, obviously.
It was the Newcastle takeover. Can I just get your thoughts on that, Sean?
Thoughts in the respect of it's a takeover. It's been ratified to my knowledge. It happens. That's football. There's people in bigger places and bigger situations that understand more about that side of it than me. I certainly don't agree or disagree whether them takeovers can happen. The league have to do that.
And how do you think it will affect the dynamic at the bottom of the table?
No, we don't know. It's too early to tell. A lot of noise about changes, a lot of noise, possible managers, possible staff, possible players. Well, you can't change it all. Well, you certainly can't change it all now. You can't change the players now. So who knows? What way, what direction that club goes in, and the new ownership. So we'll have to wait and see.
Do you think that potentially come January, beyond January, Newcastle will not be in the relegation battle they're in now? I
have no clue. It's down to them to start their own business. Fortunately, I stay focused on our business.
And in terms of your business, no win in 7. Is it cause for concern or still too early for you to worry?
No, it's cause for reality. I've been down this road before, unfortunately. It's tough. The Premier League, I say it all the time, and every manager does. It's tough. The expectation, the demands on yourself, delivering. I prefer to be playing well at the moment, which I think we are generally playing well. That is, obviously, we've got to tidy up the details. That's quite apparent. I think you prefer that as a future thought for the team. But equally, I've always said you'll take a stuffy one. Sometimes it takes a stuffy one, a lucky one, a twist of fate, something falls in the right direction. That hasn't quite gone our way. We're working hard to make it go our way. But no, it's the reality of the Premier League. It's a tough division. It always is, and especially for teams like us. Not just us. There's a number of teams. It's forever tough.
What do you think needs to change then for a bit change of luck? Is it anything you can put your finger on?
Put the ball in that end. Stop it going in that end. That's what needs to change. That usually makes it happen. That usually wins football matches, in my experience. We've got to do that right. We've done it in the past. We're not a million miles away, in my belief. But, you can mess around with it all you want and you can talk about all the variances, but that's been the difference so far this season. We haven't taken chances when we should have done to kill games off or certainly control moments in games that were important. And we've let some softer than usual goals in. So we've got to make sure that both ends of the pitch are right. I don't think we're far away from doing that. But the difference between not far away and doing it is the key. We've got to make sure that we do it. We've got to make sure we turn chances into goals and make sure we keep the other end closed, as we did do against Norwich pretty well, I thought.
You won't thank me for reminding you that the last 4 trips to City have ended 5-0. Is there ever a psychological element to that? Does that have a psychological impact when a team has a record like that against you?
I'm pleased you did remind me, actually, because I've forgotten, quite obviously. You tend to when that run of results goes against you. But no, they're a top side. There's no two ways about it. There's many top sides in the division. They are certainly up amongst them without a shadow of a doubt. Top manager, top group of players. They've spent a lot of money, but very wisely, in my opinion, with some top talents, and they mould it into a very good unit. These are very tough challenges. The idea of the psychology of it, I mean, it's not like that, it's sometimes down to the fact that they're a top side. When you play top sides, it can happen. On the other hand, we have beaten them, we have drawn against them. We won at Liverpool last year, we won at Arsenal last year. I mean, things can change, but statistically and analytically, it's very, very tough against the top sides.
Thank you. Go well.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. On to Rebecca, please.
Hi, Sean. Just going off the back of what James just said then, do you ever look at stats and kind of use them with the players in kind of a bit to motivate them, especially with the Man City stats?
Not so much to motivate. We sometimes use the analytics and the stats to show a picture, of when we played these sides, our record against these sides, not just Man City, but the top sort of 6 or 8 clubs. Not usually, though. No, we use it more for our needs as coaching staff to work out what we think the team can do better. The team here, we've got a great group here. I believe in them wholeheartedly, forever proud of them, and they feedback well. They know the script. They know the things that they can do better. We sometimes just reinforce what they know already and what they share with us as a group.
International break too, you had Nathan Collins, Connor Roberts and Chris Woods playing. Did you manage to catch any of the games?
No, well, bits and bobs. I try when I can and switch off a little bit and take my own mind away from football because you need a break. But yeah, bits and bobs, enough to know what went on. I think it's important for the players as well. I like the idea. I know international football gets questioned sometimes and you might get injuries and things like that, but I've always thought it was the right thing to do. So, when players go away, I think it's right for them. It's right to go and play for their countries when they can. Very proud moment. I'm sure I didn't do it, but I'm sure it's a very proud moment for them and their families. So never had a problem with it, but once they're away, let them get on with it.
An international break for you and the players that are left at the training ground. Do you use that as a chance to kind of regroup and look over the last few games before?
Well, it's not that easy because, your players are away. A number of players are away, some recovering from injuries and that sort of thing. I mean, when we can, we do. But it's more when they come back together. That's where we maybe have just a reminder with the players on some of the things that we think are important going forwards.
How do you manage to motivate the players, especially when results aren't going your way at the moment?
Well, they're a wise enough group to know the obvious motivation, which is you've got to change things. You have to work to change things. And, one of the many millions of sayings I believe in is, you can't wait for it to happen. You've got to make it happen. So they know that. The motivation is clear. I think the energy and the performance levels, have been good. I think they know where they're at. I think they understand the league they're in and the challenges of it. So I think motivation-wise, they're always in pretty good shape. I think it's that key moment of truth, and the biggest motivator is winning football matches. That's what, when you're a player, that's what you get into it for. You want to be individually successful, of course, but trust me, when you work really hard and you win a game as a collective of people, it's a very, very rewarding feeling. So that should be motivation enough, and we just enhance that through what we do in the environment we work in.
Sean, thank you very much for your time today and good luck for the weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy that Matty Taylor shirt. I'm sure it'll fit with them very well.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Rebecca. Daniel, Radio Lancashire, we got on here?
Hello, you can't see me because my camera's bust, which is a blessing for everybody, probably.
You're not wrong. Good head for radio.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Face for radio, I was born for it. I want to ask you about Nathan Collins.
That's my joke, you nicked it.
I've said it many a time, it's old material. I want to ask you about it.
That's a nibble, Roberto Nibbolino, if I've ever heard one.
I'm just looking forward to us getting clipped and put on the internet again.
I didn't know that happened. I'm looking at the media bill there. I didn't know that happened. I'm going to show you. The what? Very best bits. It's the very best bits. There can't be many. You're talking to him. Don't worry, they must cut you out.
My father-in-law messaged me saying Sean's mugged you off again.
Well, no, I think it's a shared mugging off, to be fair. Really, I think it's been a shared mugging off down these years.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's talk about Nathan Collins if we can, because he played in the last game, of course, made that step up to play in the Premier League. You're going to need him to step up again, aren't you? How impressed have you been with him? Because I know he was a player kind of for now and for the future when you signed him. Yeah,
his manner around the training ground, his professionalism, the way he goes about it is excellent. I think he's certainly moulding himself into what's needed to be a player in the Premier League. There's more to it than that, but I mean, the character that he is, the way he goes about his work, the way he goes about his training, playing can only enhance that, I believe. And, there comes a time for coaching, quite apparently, but sometimes it's that self-learning, going through what it is to play. And he's made a decent start in the cup game. He played well, I thought, against Norwich. I thought Tarky was outstanding against Norwich, and still rubbing my head to know why he's not around the England team, at least, still around the setup at least. But no, I think that was a good performance, and I think he's delivering in training the way he is, and I think he's got a real intent to learn and to improve. And I've enjoyed that. I mean, if he plays on Saturday, we all know it's very tough playing against Man City, but that's how you learn. That's how you improve, playing against the very best, and they're certainly in amongst the very best.
I think it was a steep learning curve for him, playing in the Premier League for the first time, making his international debut, and then potentially playing at Manchester City. Well,
whether it is or it's not, it's real. It's right there. So that's football. That's what you want as a footballer. You want them challenges. They can be anxious challenges, nervy challenges, but that's what you want. That's what you get into it for. If you want to play at the top, you have to experience what it is to play at the top. And playing Man City is certainly amongst the top, without a doubt. And they're the things that you continue to learn from. But, I think he's that type. I've been really impressed with how he is as a character, as a person around the place so far. And
obviously, Ben Mee, just with what he's achieved in the length of service, massive boots to fill.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Ben's had a knock and then unfortunately tested for COVID. So, that's what he's there for. That's what Nathan's there for. I remember Tarky had to wait his time for a while, actually, with Michael Keane, the emergence of Michael Keane and Ben being so steady. Tarky had to wait a long time, actually, when you look back. But his professionalism paid him back. Outstanding mentality to learn and to improve through training. And when Tarky got his turn, I think it's fair to say he didn't really look back. So, obviously, this is a bit more fast track for Nathan, but that's certainly a similar pathway. He's had a good pre-season with us. He's adapted to what he knows about us and what he's kind of absorbing from the players around him, from what we offer as well. We haven't overcoached him, kind of left him to drift through learning himself, because I think that's really important and invaluable, actually. My personal belief in coaching is allow them to learn as well. And he's finding his feet nicely. It's early yet, but I certainly have been impressed by what he's about and what he's shown so far.
We haven't seen Connor Roberts in the first team yet since you signed him. He's been making his recovery from injury. He went away with Wales and played. Was that really important for him, not just physically to get the minutes in, but mentally to be able to go and represent his country?
Well, that's once they go into international world, we have no power now. I felt it was a bit premature to start with the game, but he come through it well, so that's no problem. That was the main thing. Fingers crossed at the time. We were thinking, well, please, now that it's done, please come through it, and he did. He's trained today, so no effects of that. He still needs more game time for me. He's been out for quite a long while. We'll probably try and get him involved in and around it, because that's an important part of his settling period as well. Not necessarily just on the pitch, but in around it with the group. All the dynamic of the group. And yeah, for the fact that he got his minutes in and come through it unscathed, and we're pleased with that. Just felt it was a bit of an early throw into the fire, if you like, without too much football with us. So he'll certainly need more football with us.
To have Cornet in contention, is that a pleasant surprise? Because I know there was some fear at the time that it might be a bit of a longer absence.
Well, pretty quickly, the emergence of modern science and all the techniques they use, and the scanning images and stuff like that, we pretty much referenced or knew pretty much, well, not straight away, but quite quickly, that it wasn't as bad as feared, but it would take a settling down period, and that, coincided with what's happened next. He needed to miss the game, but then he's gone away in international duty, yet again, come back fine, trained today. So, yeah, I mean, we want him to get to that true Premier League fitness level. And that, is, we've said it many times, the training program you put in is vital and very important, and you can get to a very, very fit level. The games are different. The thing that you miss about training physically to be a footballer is the feeling of it. When you're doing a training schedule, no matter how hard it is, you've not got the anxiety, the stress, the strains, the mental side of the game. It's not the same build-up. So the idea of match fitness, people think it's just purely the physical side. It's also the adaptation of your body, the chemicals in your body to know how you work. You work under them stresses, them strains, them pressures, the anxiety, all the rest of it that comes your way. So I think that's the true thing about match fitness, not just the literal physical side of it, but what it all encapsulates. So I still think he needs more of that. But he's don't get me wrong, he's got a good base of fitness, without a doubt, and a good base of experience playing at the club that he did play.
On the Man City situation, and being kind of pragmatic and realistic about it, what is it like going into a game when nobody expects you to get a result? That must be a little bit strange, because you've proven so much over the years that you can get results.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that comes round your way when you're Burnley, not just us, but other teams as well. It's a peculiar thing. You don't lessen demand on your thoughts of the group, but outside it, you obviously does. I know I'm aware of that through the years of the Premier League, and that's just the way it goes. It's not. I don't think people do it disrespectfully or anything. I think they just look at the realities, the top side they are, the manager, the team, when they're in full flow, the ability they have, and all things like that. They look at your weapons against theirs and they go, well, it's not kind of a level playing field, so therefore we're going to think this outcome. And now and again, once in a while, you get the change in what everyone thinks. We've had it quite a few times in our time at Burnley. We'd work to do that again. It's not easy, but that's certainly what our foresight would be, to take the game on. And I think that's always our mentality. But it's a tough ask, quite obviously.
When you go into these games, do you learn from experience? Does it alter the way you approach them? I remember you went to Old Trafford last year, for example, and everyone's expecting a 4-4-2 and you actually play Josh Brownhill behind the striker. Do you kind of have to do something differently when you've not got results against an opponent?
No, not always. I think it was Leicester and Southampton played these this season and took a point with we're playing more or less a 4-4-2. I think Leicester, maybe Maddison just joined in and sat, but then dropped in a little bit more. Southampton more or less a 4-4-2 version of it. Sometimes you feel the change is right at any given time to affect a game to get a result. And sometimes you think it's best left alone, with what you're doing. So we'll make a judgment call on that over the next 24 hours. I've got a team in my mind already, which I often do have, but I always process it with my staff and the thoughts on them. Sometimes it's earlier in the week, sometimes it's later in the week. On this occasion, we're waiting for true fitness of people, make sure they're well, and making them decisions. So not always about change. Sometimes it's about sticking what you do if you believe in it.
And I suppose particularly the Southampton one, because there are some kind of direct parallels there in the league table. Can you take encouragement from that?
I think we look to take encouragement from others. I think we look to take encouragement from ourselves, what we've done down the years and what we look to achieve. Tough start, but it's not, I don't feel it's an incredibly tough start with performance levels. It is factually on the table. And as you know, Peter, I'm not naive. I know the table is the key to it eventually, but there has to be a future in your performances. I think there is so far this season. We've got to detail it down. We know that. We're still trying to just look at details on the training pitch. The coaches were looking at a few things this morning that we thought were good reminders for the team. And you want that to bode well for the future. Big ask going to places like Man City. You know that. But as you said, you're not fancy. No one thinks you can get a result in a different way. It doesn't take away your pressure on you because you believe you can perform and get something from the game and try and win the game. But from the outside world, it takes away that kind of feeling because most people don't give you a chance. And that's just the way it goes in the Premier League.
Thank you very much. Sorry you couldn't see my happy smiling face.
Well, I couldn't hear it either, apparently, because you just said I couldn't hear it, but I could hear it, quite obviously, because I was responding to your questions and hopefully with some good answers. But anyway, if you're getting your words up mixed, you'll be okay.
Wumbling me jerds. Sorry.
Go, baby. Go. Just go, man. Just go.
Thank you. Eleanor, PA, do you have anything to ask?
Hi, yeah, just a couple. Hi. Sean. Ben and James Tarkowski have obviously formed such a strong partnership at the back. What were your sort of initial impressions of Nathan playing with James?
Yeah, pleased. It was a different combo at Newcastle in the Cup. Pleased how he adapted to it. Pleased with his pre-season. Quiet but efficient part of the group now. He's not over voicing everything, but he's there. He's learning. He's got a bravery about him in his voice and his manner and his body language, which I like as a centre back. He's developing well in these early stages. It's still early for him in the Premier League, but equally, that's how you learn. It's not just on the training pitch. We hope we do some good work here, but it's also in the game. In fact, it's often in the game. So, yeah, that continuation, should he play this weekend and adapt into what it is with the team, then that's part of the journey for him.
And obviously having experienced players around him, that can help as well, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think, when you're a younger centre-half, particularly centre-halves actually, and goalkeeping and stuff, it helps if there's some experience around him. I think we've got a very good group who rub off on each other, so I think he'll feel at ease with that, as he has done so far.
And just on City, have you seen anything kind of different about them this season? Do you feel they'll offer a different challenge to before, or do you see them as kind of pretty similar in terms of the opposition?
Well, I think I can only imagine. I mean, I don't know Pep that well, but even at his level of the market, the players he's worked with, I'm sure they're always looking for little details, little things that can help them. they're not always obvious to the eye. The same with ourselves. We often get put in a format that everyone thinks, but we do speak to the players about adjustments. And I think I'm sure Pep and his staff adjust things. They don't always radically change things. Probably less so over the last couple of seasons when they seem to have got to a format that they really like. But I'm sure there are little adaptations they still look for.
Thank you.
Oh, good effort.
Bless you.
Did you notice I did the...
Very good.
All learning.
Thanks,
Thank
Eleanor.
you. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Alex James, thanks live.
Afternoon, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Just to clarify a couple of things on the injuries. You mentioned Charlie Taylor had picked up a knock. Do you expect him to be out for Saturday then, or is it a bit?
We'll wait and see. We'll decide tomorrow because he's not. He's quite confident with it, but obviously, you come out of an international period, you don't want him getting re-injured, so we'll have to make a call on that tomorrow. Him and Vince.
Yeah, and Johan wasn't involved with Iceland, I don't think. Is he fitting well? Yeah.
Yeah, he settled down. Yeah, he had a knock, but he's settled down and trained the last few days.
You mentioned Connor Roberts earlier, and obviously he's got a bit of match minutes in, and whether it's a week or a month or so before he's sort of fully integrated into the first team with yourselves, that seems like a very tight selection decision between him and Matt Loughton, and obviously Phil Bardsley there with a position you've got good strength and depth in. How tough a call will that be when all three are fully fit?
Well, we're still learning about Connor, because he's hardly played any football. So the first thing is to get him fit, get him properly fit before he comes into that thinking and that clarity of thought where he's pushing for his place. We do believe in him, quite obviously. That's why we brought him here. But we've got two very, very strong fullbacks in my belief.
Were you surprised to see him start that second game, given what you said earlier on, and obviously the fact that he hasn't played any football since the Euros, I don't think?
Well, as I said, it's once they go in international jurisdiction, if they're fit and well, they own that player, so to speak, for that period. So my thoughts on it, are irrelevant, really. When they're away, that's down to them.
And speaking about Nathan Collins before, and you've mentioned Tarky as well, just how important is it for someone like Nathan to have Tarky alongside him, as it was for Tarky perhaps to have Ben Mee alongside him when he first came into that team?
I think it's helpful. Tarky's become a very rounded professional. I think he's a top professional. I think he's been excellent for us this season, as I suggest. It's always a head scratcher for me over the last year or so how he's not been involved with the England setup, or seemingly not as close as I think. But that's a different aspect of his game, to prove to them he can do what he can do. But I mean, even this season, we had a tough start, but I think he's been excellent. I think the last game against United, he was absolutely outstanding. I think a number of games he has been this season. So yes, to have him alongside you, I'd certainly, if I was a slightly fitter younger man, I'd certainly be thinking I could feel relaxed going out on a football pitch as him as my partner, personally.
And we've been here before. We'll probably be here again between now and January in the summer. But there's been some sort of speculation linking him with Newcastle in the. You
don't say there hasn't been speculation.
I know, yeah.
Is this the countdown for Christmas? Let's start the countdown. What day are we on? And we'll do the hours and the minutes, so like Sky, something like that.
Obviously, people are going
to. Yeah, he left a while ago.
Put 2 and 2 together and get 5. But I guess the contract situation maybe exemplifies it a little bit. Just you've always said he's been professional, he's committed. You can see that in his performances. How do you sort of see his long-term future at the moment, given that contract situation?
I can see him continuing to be professional and committed, and speaking to me when he needs to.
Lovely. And just last one from me, just one on vaccines. There's in COVID vaccines amongst the players. There's been talk of the Premier League sort of rewarding clubs who've got a high proportion of players vaccinated. I think.
So let me stop right there. If it's a financial reward, I'm in.
And Nathan Collins mentioned it ahead of the Ireland game, and obviously Ben's tested positive for COVID in the last week or so. Just are you able to sort of say what the picture is at Burnley? Are most of the players vaccinated? Or
no, I think what I will say is what the picture is. It seems to me is that everyone, unless you tell me different, I'm not aware of anything different, but everyone's at liberty to decide what they wish to decide.
Yeah.
I'm vaccinated, I'm double vaccinated. All of my staff, as I know, are. The players have a choice. It's up to them. I personally would recommend it strongly. I've got my children double vaccinated, my family double vaccinated. I'd recommend it, but that's a personal choice. I can't force anything on anyone else. If the Premier League, I feel, are encouraging it, not just for the players, but for the product as well. I'm sure there's a balance now from the Premier League, but it's the people first. You want people to stay well. We want the world to stay well if we can, because obviously it is a world effect. And the vaccination program has been seen as a big part of that. So, of course, I'm bound to recommend it, having had it and having done it. But I don't force it on my players. I just say, look, it's a recommended decision for people far more intelligent than me, I can assure you. And specialists and scientists around the globe are saying that they recommend it, or most. So therefore, that's in my world, then that's a simple decision. But like I say, it's for each individual to see how they see it.
Lovely. Thanks, Sean. All the best for Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I think we'll move into the embargo section now. So if we're going to just turn the cameras off. Thank you.